rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start, physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, welcome to episode 128 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. Tipping points. You know, as we start to improve ourselves and we start to get traction with that, things start to change around us. Our last episode, we were talking about what has changed for you. What have you noticed? And whether we notice it or not, as we become healthier mentally and physically, and our confidence and our self-esteem improves, we hit tipping points. That's what I call them anyway. If we can maintain these, improvements over time, and they're fleeting at first, so we got to fight to really hang on to them. But once we sort of get to that level, and once we just get comfortable at this new position where we're healthier, we're feeling better, we're working on things, we become empowered. As we become better, things around us change. Opportunities will increase. Haters will increase. And there's new pressures as we start playing at a higher level. And I think that's something that can be daunting at first, scary, right? I know for me, as I move up in levels, there's always a thing in the back of my mind is, hey, can I maintain at this level? Can I play at this level? Some of it's positive, right? Say, hey, listen, if I want to stay at this level, then I got to make sure that I'm training every day. I got to make sure that I'm eating better. I got to make sure that I'm, putting out the podcast. I got to make sure that I'm returning phone calls and messages and stuff. So very important. And sometimes, that can be a little overwhelming at first. We got to get used to it. And what we have to make sure we do is we don't fall back. We've all been in that situation where we've walked into a room and there's for a second we're like, whoa, should I be in this room? I see it in the gyms a lot. I see it where, guys train at certain gyms because at that gym, they're the biggest guy or they're the strongest guy. And their ego doesn't want to deal with going to another gym where they might not be the strongest guy. Which is unfortunate because when you put yourself in a situation that's better than you, you will improve. But it's hard on the ego. And if everything you hang your hat on that's positive about yourself is the fact that you're the strongest guy in the gym, then it's really, really hard for you to want to fuck with that because everything rides on that. So if you come in, we hear that about our gym sometimes, on especially the hanger side. There's a lot of 315-pound benchers out there, right, that would just be a regular bencher in our gym. We have a lot of ladies benching 150 and 180 pounds in our gym now. That's stronger than a lot of guys out there. So a lot of guys aren't ready to do that, aren't ready to put themselves in that situation. And it's the same with life. It's the same with other aspects. We get to a certain position where, we're king of the hill, albeit maybe our own little hill, and we like that feeling. It's positive. It's good for the ego. So it's hard to naturally want to put yourself onto another hill where you're not the king of the hill. There's a lot of work to do to get to the top of that hill. But that's where we really keep improving, is when we put ourselves in a situation where we're not the smartest person in the room. We're not the most financially well-off person in that room. We're not the most well-adjusted person in that room. Everybody wants to be the cool guy. But the key to becoming cooler is to put yourself in a situation where you have to become cooler, where you have to find things out about yourself, where you have to find, expose your weaknesses, so you have to work on them. And we have to be driven. We have to work towards something. In life, we either move away from a pain or towards a pleasure. It really comes down to those basic things overall. So that's why sometimes we'll create our own little world that's comfortable and we know it. We'll only work as hard as we need to maintain that because we feel good there. But there's a point in time where we start to not really feel good about it anymore, but we're afraid to step out into the unknown and feel naked. Worried that maybe we won't look as smart as we want people to see us. We won't, have the nicest shoes in the room or drive the coolest car in the parking lot. And I think that's a normal thing, but I think if you truly want to improve, and if you talk to people that have moved up in the world, people that have increased their personal wealth and their personal happiness and their esteem and their confidence, that are doing things, they'll tell you that things only started to change for them when they started putting themselves in a situation that was bigger than them. And I think that's super important. We do that because that's how we're going to move to the next level. That tipping point happens. I know for me, one of the things that's happening that, I'm working to deal with and balance with is a lot of opportunities are coming our way now. Every day there's an email. Every day there's a phone call. Someone wants us to be part of something or wants to be part of what we're doing or has an idea, right? And that's cool because we worked really hard to get to that point. We've worked really hard to get back to that point. But what I'm trying to make sure I manage, though, is just that, managing it properly, getting back to people, following through with the things I say I'm going to follow through, and not taking on too much that I have trouble doing that. And that's one of the things that I know personally I get in trouble with a little bit, is I take on a little too much. Because I'm afraid sometimes I'm missing an opportunity. Or I get excited by the opportunity and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, we'll do that. But then I don't sit sometimes and look at what does that really look like? What's that going to look like for the next 4 weeks? So that's one of the things that I work on, is the fear of losing an opportunity, but then focusing on making sure that, as I said in a few episodes earlier, I manage my energy so that whatever I do take on, I can take on and do it at a very, very high level, the highest level that I can do it. So the people that are involved with me appreciate me being involved with them. So that's where sometimes I have to sit down and look at my big picture and say, if I want to do this on an ongoing basis, this next level, what are some of the things that I'm doing now that I have to delegate or move away from, but still make sure they get taken care of? Sometimes we feel like we're being pulled in many directions at once. And that's good. That's a good pressure to have. But it's to work on doing it better and doing it more efficiently. One of the things I have to work on is my downtime. Not wait till I get so tired that when I am tired, I'm like, fuck it, I just want to sleep for a day and a half. But actually program in downtime where every 3 weeks I take a full weekend off. That's something that I know I need to work on. When I look at my 10,000 foot view and I look down on what's going on, I need to do more of that. And then not only that, but when I take that time off, do things in that time off that I really want to do with the people I really want to do it with. So I get the most out of it. But not wait until it gets to the point where I'm just so fucking exhausted that I just have to fucking bail. So again, I've come a long way, but I have a long way to go with my own development. And I know that's one of the things that I want to do. Because when it comes to that stuff, it's easy for me to say, oh, I can't afford it. I don't have the money for that right now. Or I can't afford it. I don't have the time for that right now. But turn around and tell me there's a deal on a piece of equipment. I find the money for it because that motivates me more. But the other is just as important. I just have to make sure I do better at it overall. So for me, that's one of the next things I'm working on. And I know once I do that and I manage my energy better, I'm going to be able to perform at a much higher level. And then even more opportunities will come my way. And we'll do better with those opportunities, which will take me to the next tipping point. But to understand that there's new pressures as you go to the next level. The pressure of being able to maintain your game to stay at that level, plus the pressures of what's coming at that level. And it's new. So when things are new, it takes time for us to get used to it. It takes time for us to adapt to it. And sometimes we sit there and we look at it and goes, oh, that seems like a lot of fucking work. And it is. And sometimes that intimidates us, especially if we're tired, So we got to be fitter. We got to be stronger. We have to be better fueled with our food. We have to be better fueled with our minds. So we can operate at a higher level to have less fear and intimidation when we go to the next level overall. Tipping points are exciting, but it's to make sure that we can stay there. And understand that, you know what, when we get to those new levels, we're still going to stumble a bit, right? When we were kids, we didn't just come out of the womb and start running, right? We forget that. And those around us, when we move to a higher level and they see you're trying and they see you stumble, but they see you're trying, they understand. They understand and they have room and patience for that. What people don't have when we move to a higher level is patience. They don't have the patience for bullshit. Because as we move to higher levels, if you look at anyone who's a higher achiever in whatever they're doing, in that area, they have very little room for bullshit because they know that bullshit doesn't work. And it's the same with ourselves. We have to call ourselves on our own bullshit. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And you know what, guys? It's hard. That's why so few people do it. But when you get onto the other side of that, you're so fucking happy you did. And then it's the same process, next level. It's like there's 10 steps to get to the next level. Maybe there's 8. I'm just saying that as an example. But then if we know that once we achieve these 10 steps, we're at the next level, then we get to understand that the next level from there is just another 10 steps. Now, maybe it's doing the same steps better. Maybe it's incorporating a new step. But that's the stuff that's exciting. That's the stuff that's truly rewarding. That's the stuff that makes us fucking interesting, is our struggles and our attempts and what we're doing and stuff. You know, if you want me to fucking wish I had a bullet in my fucking head, it's when I'm in a situation, a social event, and I'm talking to someone and I'm asking, hey, you know, how are you doing? What's going on? What's new? And they're like, oh, nothing. Nothing's new, man. Same stuff. I'm like, holy fuck, what a waste. I can't wait to get away from that person. I want to have a conversation when someone's telling me what they're doing next. This is what they're working on. This is what's happening. Just came back from a trip, or we're going to do this, or this is what's happening in our business, or I'm training for that. That's the stuff that's interesting. That's the stuff that excites me and motivates me because I want to have that feeling as well. I want to have days where I get up and I'm like, well, we got shit to do today. A lot of it's going to be great. And there's going to be some garbage to deal with, but there's so much great that it just overpowers the garbage. To me, that's the best day to have. That's the best week to have. To come home and have things to talk about. And to be with people that they have things to talk about. They have things to be excited about and to share. But those only happen as we move up, guys. Those only happen as we hit a tipping point from where we are, from where we want to be, and as we move towards it overall. But isn't that much more interesting? Isn't that much more worthwhile? Because doing stuff that doesn't make us happy is hard as well. Unfulfillingness, being unfulfilled is hard. But I think we get used to that hard, the devil we know. So at the end of the day, it's about improving ourselves and then seeing what changes around us and then appreciating those changes. And sit back and, you know, sometimes we have to bask in our successes. It's another thing I need to work on sometimes. I don't do enough of that. I don't sit back enough and appreciate what we've built over the last 25 years, but especially in the last 5 years, where we've come through, right? So to me, those are some of the things that I know I need to keep working on. So with that downtime, with that planned downtime. So in training, we do deloads. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm all about, listen, 5 weeks in, 4 weeks in, let's deload. It's the same with life. Work really hard, but then deload. Now you get some people that deload too much. Do you know what I mean? They're deloading to avoid the mundane of what their life is. And that's their business, right? But let's deload for some work. Let's deload from pushing. Let's deload from having worked really hard to move towards something. And then we're deloading for a reason. And we'll enjoy that deload a lot more. Be like, I fucking deserve this break. I can't wait to get to this area that we're going and chill I don't care if it's camping. I don't care if it's, shopping. I don't care golfing, whatever your thing is, whatever you truly enjoy doing, go do some of that. Plan that shit in, because if you don't plan it, you're not going to do it. Right? It's another goal. It's never something else to work towards. It's another tipping point that when you get there, you're like, I fucking earned this. And you're going to enjoy it a lot more. We talk about people trying to change their nutrition and stuff. And one of the things is they get into this thing, oh, it's Friday, I deserve this reward. I'm like, really? Really? Because you got the Friday? You know what I mean? Like, you managed to get the Friday like everybody else around you did, right? So you deserve that reward. I'm like, if you set those bars pretty fucking low, what's going to happen is you're going to deserve a reward just for fucking getting out of bed. You're going to deserve a reward just for getting to work, right? And the problem is when we do that, when we over reward ourselves for the littlest fucking thing, we really don't appreciate it. It doesn't mean anything to us. And if anything, it derails us. And I say this a lot, it's not because I don't drink anymore. But when I did drink, I'm like, oh, it's Friday. Let's go have a beer. I'm like, what? Because it's fucking Friday? No, I really just wanted a fucking beer because I'm an alcoholic, right? That was the truth on that. That was my truth. When I got people come in and want to work on changing their physique and they're trying to lose 50, 60, 80 pounds, I tell them, I said, cut all that shit out for a month, 2 months. Don't do that stuff until you've lost 20, 30 pounds. And they're like, wow. And I'm like, well, what? What the fuck is going to happen if you don't have your reward fucking beer or drink or fucking coconut cream pie on every Friday night? First off, it hasn't been working because you're going the other way with it. Number two, it just doesn't mean anything. It's just a habit. Maybe an addiction, maybe a habit, maybe just a rut you're in. But you're just going through the motions, man. Doesn't mean anything. Now, work really fucking hard for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, lose 20, 30 pounds, be fitter, be stronger. Then go out and reward yourself. I'll tell you right now, 2 things are going to happen. Is you're going to feel a lot more deserving. Number 2, I guarantee you when you indulge, you're going to indulge a fraction of what you used to indulge because it doesn't mean the same anymore. We get conditioned. If you haven't drank in a long time, I know right now, almost 4 years sober, if I had a beer, I'd be fucking looped because I haven't had a beer in 4 years because I'm not conditioned for it anymore. When I was super conditioned, and believe me, I was really conditioned, I could drink fucking a pitcher and not feel a thing because I was so used to it. It meant nothing. It wasn't a celebration anymore. It wasn't a reward anymore. It was a necessity. That's the shit we want to get away from. We want to make our necessities things that are positive for us, things that are important, things that move us forward, that make us better so that we're happier. Those are necessities. Working out every day, that's a fucking necessity. Eating good food and cleaning up our diets and working hard and improving that's a fucking necessity. Nowhere do I say perfection, but get better and better at it. So when you have a slip up, it's rare. Whereas opposed to, most people when they start can't string 2 days of good food together because they're not used to it. They're fighting it. They're not happy with themselves. They're not moving towards that next tipping point. That next tipping point is when all of a sudden, you just eat better and you food prep and it becomes automatic for you. And then every once in a while, when you do get stuck for food, you realize, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to eat because I don't have it. And I don't want to eat here because this isn't good for me. And you truly are feeling that way. To me, that's a huge tipping point. You've come to a big tipping point in how you eat and how you think about food. And that's sometimes where we can sit back and just appreciate just how far we've come when it's something like that overall. Tipping points are super important. They need to happen. And when they happen, we need to learn how to deal with them. Right? It's like we're climbing a mountain and we finally get to a ledge and we can rest a little bit. It's really important we got to that ledge because up until that ledge, from the last ledge, we were just fucking hanging on by our fingertips. Look at tipping points that way. We're hanging on by our fingertips till we get to the next ledge. When we get to the next ledge, we're further up, we're higher up, we're safer, we're in a better place. Rest, get comfortable with it, and then we start moving up by our fingertips till we get to the next tipping point. That's a pretty cool visualization. I like that. That's pretty awesome. It's because of the movie Cliffhanger I saw when I was a kid with Sylvester Stallone, right? Everything you need to know about life, you can learn from Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger movies. There's a time and a place. There's beautiful life lessons in each one of those movies. Guys, that's all I have to say for now on that. Head on over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star rating, a positive review. Head on over to hostilegear.com. Use the code word Silverback to save 20% off. And as always, work hard, motherfuckers. And I'll talk to you guys later.